Oh, what's up YouTube? We're back with another day. We got dynamic effort upper body today. Cheeks are sore from those reverse lunges yesterday. Holy balls. We had a bat speed day today. The bat speed was not cooking. It was a good day. We were, everything felt good, but that snap was gone. I've been kind of finding also the balls that we hit are pretty beat up at this time, so I think I'm gonna have to go get more balls. But my goal right now with these balls, so like when softballs get hit a bunch, they get super soft, and then the exit velo kind of tanks. But my goal is to continue to hit the same numbers with these squishy balls, so then when I get new balls, like you're surprised with a brand new PR. And when we hit on the weekends, it's with the brand new balls, and every time that's been a PR, so it's kind of cool to see that kind of all shift together. But yeah, that's kind of my process with these squishy balls, continually hits the same mark with more beat up balls. And then when we get to new balls, kind of crush a PR there. So been ripping that. Cheeks are beat up, cheeks are sore. We are feeling it today. We got some one-arm snatches today. Pretty pumped for that movement. Athletes are ripping it today. It's again another one that I've been seeing. It's kind of like that circus lift. We were pressing up and going through. So old strongmen been doing it, but then I saw, again, Range of Strength doing it yesterday on his story, and I think it's kind of badass. So work a bunch of those things. And we got a podcast with Ross, Coach Ross he's with Bobby White right now, working really the ecological approach to basketball and everything that Bobby White does. If you guys haven't listened to the Bobby White podcast, you should, but ripping that today in like an hour or so. So we're gonna get this lift done. Might have to come back and record a little bit more after, but goal is to get all that done. Go eat a little breakfast and then record with Coach Ross and have a banger of a podcast. So pretty cool day. Pumped for it. Nothing much else to be said. Let's get it. Boom. Let's go. Set 2 here of this little one-handed snatch press coming up this way. Really like the rotational piece of the shoulder, rotating all the way through, coming all the way back down. I think a lot of times when athletes struggle with overhead positions, it's because they're overloading a certain shoulder press position, and then the only shoulder press they know is literally just a standing shoulder press, and to continually hit the same numbers or progress, instead of switching up the variation, working in a different way, they just continually add more weight and take the range of motion away. So what used to be just a full deep range of motion shoulder press starts turning into like just jamming their shoulders with a fucking max overloaded press every single week. And they're like, well, shoulder press is bad for your shoulders. Like, no, shoulder press like a dumbass is bad for your shoulders. So one arm press here. Ooh, I did that wrong, but. Ooh. Ooh. Oh yeah, those feel good, man. Oh, full side body bend, pressing up into it, rotating all the way through. Get some rotational torsion, I guess you could say, through the wrist and elbow as you go through, but it just feels like a much more natural pressing motion. While still being able to work the shoulders in that overhead position. Like if you're an overhead athlete, you gotta fucking train overhead, man. Like not going overhead when you're an overhead athlete, one of the silliest things our field has fucking invented. And again, I think it's because we don't have any other substitute other than just adding 10 more pounds to your fucking shoulder press, which again, adding 10 more pounds to a real shoulder press is great, but just continually shortening the range of motion and turning into an overcoming isometric every time is silly. I messed up the pickup position, so I'm gonna try and get that right. Make sure I got that here. There we go. Ooh. 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 Oh yeah, it was good. All right, probably add a little bit of weight there. Maybe we'll see 25s, see how those feel there. But that's a banger, let's go. So we'll hit the last set here. We got just 15s on the bar, ripping through. I think one of the things that can kind of be applied with this overhead pressing philosophy is finding ways to overload the body without just straight weights. And I think you can do this in kind of any part of the body, anything that you want to work. It's weight is not your only stimulus that you can add. Time under tension, velocity, range of motion, the position that you're pressing things in. And I feel like so many times our simplest solution is 5 more pounds to bar. And that's great. I'm not saying take away that stimulus or do anything like that. I just feel like when it hits a certain point to where we're not progressing and we're taking a lot of things from good to great or even from suck to good, rather than just working on the things we are shit at and bringing them to sucking at those things. And the gap that you can get, you can do very little stimulus from shit to suck and get much better in your general scheme. And if your sport is life, or your sport is an actual sport and not like a powerlifting event, you don't need to grind just the straight weight. Again, and I kind of push back, I don't want to say it that way either, because a lot of times your weight will just go up by working some of these weak points. So it's not like weight doesn't matter. I just think you can do it much more organically. And I think that's why the variety kind of conjugate approach is nice too, because it forces you to not just squeeze out the weight on the bench press, squeeze out the weight on the squat, because you're always changing that variation and seeing if you can actually get stronger and work on some of those weak links rather than just 5 more pounds to the squat, 5 more pounds to the overhead press. And I think if you find ways to stimulate the body without overloading just weight, and that's having that be your only metric, you can feel a lot better, get better a lot faster, and just feel like stronger overall. I don't know how to describe that feeling of strength overall, where you walk around feeling strong rather than walking around feeling strong with a barbell, but total strength. So we'll be here. 8 of them. There we go. It's probably a little light for a last set. Maybe save some in the tank. Kind of have to hurry in this workout, so I probably won't do another set, but if I had time, I'd probably add 5s or 10s to that. That was more like a 7 out of 10 RPE than a 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. So you can push that out definitely a little bit more. But we'll save some in the tank just a little bit today. Nice. Woo. All right, we'll show some of the accessories we had paired with this, and then rip. Let's go. Then we got this spinal extension on this GHR here, locking the feet in at the bottom, standing, bending back, and then pressing overhead. I think this is another great one to work on that overhead position. You get some spinal extension here, building that up under load, which is nice, but then you also get this overhead position, building up nice and long, coming back in, and a lot of athletes will really struggle in this position. And this one feels really, it's like a good way to make that overhead position feel nice. With this spinal extension being worked, my core is fucking destroyed from those Jefferson curls we did yesterday, those seated ones. Those were absolute money, but this is the bend the spine movement for the day. Big fan of this one. Medicine Through Movement kind of showed me this one. If you don't follow him, you should. He's a fucking beast. One of my favorites. Yeah, nice. And then just like we have been doing, 35, adding 5 pull-ups a week to this kind of dense set. So 35 total pull-ups this week. I'm gonna go wide grip this week, so it won't be as much weight, but we're gonna go wide grip, try to add weight every single set. So first set, we did body weight, second set with 2.5, third set 5, fourth set 10 or 7.5, then 10, and keep adding weight there with this wide grip. So we're going to the edge of this here, really working on this. Shoulders are feeling really good today, actually. That mobility piece was nice for these first set. Oh, yeah, nice. I think with pull-ups, if you're trying to get your first pull-up, getting dense sets, total pull-ups done in a workout. Here, we'll lower this here. Total workouts done or pull-ups done in a workout, total amount of volume. I think a lot of people mess it up by just going for max pull-ups in one set. I think if you split up your sets and you're really trying to get your first pull-up and you're doing band assisted pull-ups or whatever it is, like you can increase your pull-ups by splitting it out throughout your workouts. So set like I gotta get 10 band assisted pull-ups today. Even if you're doing 2 at a time, that's gonna be better than if you do 3 sets of 2 or 3 sets of 1 just in a program set. So spreading your pull-ups out throughout the workout can be a really nice way of adding volume in. And another thing with pull-ups is you can get them done pretty much every single day. Band assisted, whether you're doing them or not, like there's so many days where I'm just ripping pull-ups, just walking by a bar and doing them. And the body responds pretty well, especially the back, I found, to a lot of volume and a lot of frequency. And it's not like it gets to this point where it's brutally sore and you can't do it, like legs, and there's a negative consequence there. So having the total amount of reps you want to hit with pull-ups and then progressing that way has been really nice to get people to do their first pull-ups, or just adding more pull-ups or adding more weight. I think it's a much more effective way. And then doing pull-ups throughout the week. Like, it doesn't have to be programmed for you to be able to do a pull-up, but maybe like literally every single day. If you suck at something, you can do that thing every single day. If it's a lagging muscle, so like if I'm going to a beach or something like that, in a couple months or something along those lines, and my chest is a lacking muscle on me, I will hit chest pretty much every single day, whether it's a machine, the chest fly, whatever it is, but adding that frequency and volume up throughout the week. And it doesn't mean crush chest every day, but even if it's like 2 sets of 5, I shouldn't say 5, 2 sets of like 15, just get a little pump every single day. You can do the same thing with the back, but the upper body handles volume like that and frequency like that much better. And even the lower body with some of the smaller muscles. I want to squat every day, but if you want to hit bigger quads, you don't have very big quads, you're squatting on Monday and you have an upper body day on Tuesday, you can hit quad extensions on Tuesday, even if it's 2 sets. But I think for hypertrophy, frequency and volume are 2 massive pieces of the puzzle. And I think the body responds really well to that, much more than you would think based off what we're told in the books. So gonna keep crushing volume there and get to some accessories. We're gonna rip some loaded carries here. We got some single arm carries. I really think carries are one of the most underrated tools for strength training you can have. Like, I think you could use carries as like a main lift during a day. Man, it's such a weird like argument to say carries aren't a good strength exercise. Picking something up and carrying it for a long period of time, especially something awkward, like if you're carrying a hex bar in weird ways or a log press in weird ways, or even a single arm carry here, I think it's such a silly argument. Anybody that's done a heavy carry, an actual heavy carry, not like a 30-pound dumbbell carry where you're carrying it, like I think those are pointless, but an actual heavy carry where you're stimulating that way, I think is moneymaker, man. And I think once you do them, you're like, oh, of course, yeah, like that feels like I'm fucking strong. Like the farm boy strength that we're trying to get. So strap up your carries and go heavy on your carries. I think that's probably, again, I mentioned it again, but probably why carries get a bad rep is because you do them with 30 pounds. It's just like doing a squat with 30 pounds. A squat with 30 pounds, if you're a 220-pound squatter, is also a worthless exercise, right? Like, farmer's carries at 10% of your max load is gonna be a worthless exercise. You're not gonna do much there. So load up your carries. We got 185 on the bar here. We'll strap these up. We'll just go down and back, single arm carries there. Gonna work that core, working the forearms, working the grip there. Obviously a little bit less with that strap, but working on good posture here. But you work these, you feel strong after them. You got some traps as you're going, but yeah, man, I think it's a silly argument to say carries don't have any utility. Oof. Oof. Yeah. Woo. Those are good. Oh, you want to build up a spine that is able to do a lot of things. Those single arm carries will get you, man. Oh, let's go. Oh, I just finished up the second set of farmer's carries, and it triggered a thought. It was like, you know, see, you have these optimal versus efficiency, like, bros. And one of the things that they'll argue is like a certain exercise is not optimal, and that you can, let's say like the suitcase carries. Let's just stick with carries. The carries, you could get more weight lifted if you just did a deadlift, and then more grip work done if you just did something else. And then the other exercise, like the efficiency peeps, are like, well, we get everything done in one exercise and you can't be more efficient than that. And to me, it's just shut the fuck up, bro, and train. Like, my goodness, nobody goes into their training think, I want to be the most optimal or I want to be the most efficient. Like, you need to have balances of those. You can't just waste all your time, and you can't be like just fucking around the whole time. But it's like, go pick up a heavy suitcase deadlift, go carry it for a while, And then tell me that's not optimal, tell me it's not efficient. Like, it's such a silly, weird fairy tale argument. It's one that we have in our field of just pretending like we are moving to be optimal. We are moving to be efficiency masters in our workout because we need to get our workouts done in 20 minutes. We need to get our workouts done in 10 minutes. Bro, like, if that's your approach to training, that's your approach to movement, we have to go 17 steps deeper and look at that approach to movement rather than putting it on the exercises themselves. Some of training can just be fun. And I'm not even putting carries in the fun category, but like some of training can just be fun. Some of training can just be, I like doing that variation over that variation. You know, like I like doing suitcase deadlifts. It feels good. I like how it feels, okay? I don't care if you have an exercise that's better for me. You know, I don't like that exercise. And to say it's better is silly as well. Like I'm not even arguing that point of it. Like that's such a silly argument too. But I just think we come up with these BS arguments that are they're just not real life. Like nobody that has done 225 farmer's carry has got done with that and been like, man, I could have been more optimal with my workout today. I could have been more efficient with that workout today. I could have found a better way. Like, bro, you just did a 225 deadlift for 30 yards. Like, you get that stimulus in your body and you're able to do that stimulus, yeah, you got a good workout in. So I think we overthink things, we overcomplicate things, and most of the time it's a lot of copium. It's a ton of copium for either what we need to sell or what we are unable to do. And it's like, you're unable to do that heavy suitcase carry. So you say, oh, it's not efficient. It's not, like, man, silly arguments for silly people. Just go train hard. If you enjoy doing something in your training, keep it in your training. Again, I think that's the wants versus need argument I was arguing with warm-ups. Like if there's pieces to the warm-up that you want to do and you just enjoy doing, that's way different than feeling like you need to do something. I need to be optimal. I need, like, that's copium. If you need to do something in your workouts, it's a lot of copium, okay? Wanting to do something is much different. You want to go do something because you enjoy it. You want to go do something because it's something that you vibe with. Go do it, man, but don't push that on the other people and in their movement practices and their ideologies around training. So the rant I had after a heavy set of suitcase carries just finished us up. And I was like, damn, I'm fucking on fire. Like, there's no way you actually do those and then say carries are not effective. Like, silly. All right, we'll keep going. Let's go. All right, so little hypertrophy hack I got from Thibodeau. 2-to-1 exercises. You pull up with 2, let go with one hand, down with the other. So that's what we got with these curls. You can do the same thing, leg extension. Push up with 2, drop 1 foot, come down with 1. So you can eccentrically overload the muscle more than you can concentrically. We all know that. Just a super easy way to have that drop set, mechanical drop set almost. Where you're coming up here, pulling up with 2, dropping 1 hand, coming down for 6. Really nice way to really overload that muscle. Ooh. And you can do it in pretty much any exercise. It should be a weight that I cannot pull up with a single arm. A lot of people do these 2-to-1s in a weight that they can just crank out with a single arm. That's not an overload. Should be much more than you can do when you're just pulling, holding on for dear life here. Just like that. It's like the meathead momentum reps, the cheater curls that got big fucking biceps, and then all the nerds came in and were like, well, that's not an efficient way to curl. It's like, well, they got 40-inch biceps. You should probably listen to them and not the dude in the lab coat, right? So they probably were on to something, even if they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. It's probably another thing. It's not always to appeal to authority. I don't agree with that, if that's your only logic. But if somebody's getting really good results, maybe there's something there that you should pay just a little bit of attention to. And if you're not getting good results, and you don't look like it, and your training isn't working, so like maybe that's something to look at. One of the most frustrating things in the world is getting advice from somebody that's just like, they haven't done it, man. Like, what are you giving advice on? Social media is a big one, and softball swing, since posting those 2 things. It's like I get advice from people that have not done social media and don't play baseball. So what are we talking about, dude? It's not to say you can't talk about things with your buddies. Oh my God. Yeah, that was fucking, woo. Oh, fatigued on that left one. Not to say you can't like disperse and just shoot ideas and shoot shit with your buddies, but You can't give unsolicited advice on something you haven't done or you're not good at, or the person that you're giving unsolicited advice to is better at than you. Unless they ask for advice, then it's not unsolicited, or you guys are just talking and having a conversation. But it blows my mind when I get some of these DMs. It's like, you should do this, or you should fix that, or why do you say that? It's like, dude, you're a high schooler. What are we talking about? Like, I've been doing this for almost more years than you've been alive now at this point. Like, please, let's chill for a little bit, and then let's do it. Let's run what you're talking about for like 5 more years, and then we can have a discussion. But man, it's very frustrating. I don't know where that, like, I'm thinking back to when I was in high school, and I was an idiot for sure, but there was somebody that was above me. In something that I would do, I just watch them and steal the stuff that I liked that they were doing well, throw away the stuff that I thought they were lacking in, and then continually work at my own craft until I got to a level which I felt like I had a level of expertise. And now it's like I'm talking to some of these high schoolers, like, where are you getting this confidence from? It's truly unbelievable. The social media side of things, it's like, you should make these videos, you should do that, you should. I get it's well intended, and then they'll get mad when I don't do that, like video, like, bro, you're not on social media, you don't make any posts, you're not doing this, like, it's silly, man. I don't know where that confidence comes from, but it's frustrating, man. Do the thing. Stop giving advice about the thing, do the thing, get really, really good at the thing, and then people will just watch you for that advice. You know, like they'll steal a piece of advice, and then if they ask you for advice, you can do it, or just talk about what you're doing and document it and do it in that way. But that's a frustrating piece to the puzzle that I've been noticing a lot. Like, you need to have an expertise in something before you're giving advice about something. It's like Dunning-Kruger effect for sure. Then, similar to the biceps, a little overloaded eccentric movement here is you'll just got eccentric on the bottom, and you'll jump up at the bottom or stand back up onto here. So overloading the dips here for 6 seconds down, coming up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause, then we drop back down and we come back up. So this is a weight that's probably just a little bit too light. We'll probably add that 25 for the next set, rip through there, but we'll come here. Just like that. Yeah, great way to overload. Again, give a really good stimulus. Chest. And you shouldn't be able to press back up. I'd probably get pretty close to being able to press back up here. Maybe not with the 6 second eccentric, but I think I can go a little bit more. I should be fighting gravity a little bit more on these reps. All right, then we got shoulder swims to end it. I still got a couple more mobility things to do. We'll come back and do those later. We got a pancake stretch. So I'll just be here, pancake, 2-minute stretch here, grabbing a band. Had to partner push this morning on when we had our athletes here. That was a really good one. So we'll go 2 minutes there. I got some neck work. We're doing the Mike Tyson neck bridges, back and forth, just working the neck, building that up. Those are the 2 things we got left. We're gonna finish off with these shoulder presses, or these shoulder swims here, 100 each side. Then we'll hit a little car video on my way back, and then we'll hit the podcast. And a pretty good day. So here, coming up in this bear crawl position, working the stability of the leg, arm that is here, building up that bear crawl position there, working mobility here. Big circles, just like that, 100 each side, just like this. I really like tricking athletes into getting into a lot of bear crawl positions by just spicing it up. Wheelbarrows, really nice. These are a good one. Just going back and forth here, finding different ways to get athletes into crawl positions. So this one is a little bit more shoulder hand base, less spine base, but when we're moving, we'll hit a lot more spine, back and forth. Come in here. Hit them both ways. We got 100 total circles here. So that was a pretty good day. Driving to the podcast right now. Pretty pumped for this podcast. The Bobby White squad is, they're good. They're some of my favorite dudes. So gonna rip with Ross here in a little bit. That was a good workout. We got done in like, I think 55 minutes. And that's definitely a workout I could have fucked around with. And not that fucking around's a bad thing. Again, if you're enjoying the workout, and a lot of times I'll mess around with different variations of things and just play around with, ooh, I kind of like that, I kind of like that. Or maybe just add just a little bit more load to certain things. But the freedom to be able to cut the workout to 55 minutes and get everything in and get a really good pump in and feel great on that day. That's also part of the journey. And I think just getting your stuff done, I think, is a big process. Like not breaking the chain, as the Atomic Habits people would say. Like showing up every single day. Even like I knew going into that workout I had 50 minutes to rip. And I think a lot of, I don't think this, I know a lot of people where they're like, they don't finish one part of their workout, or they feel like they had to rush it or whatever, and then they're like, the whole workout's wasted, I didn't get anything done, whatever it is, and then they're all like down on themselves. They'll send me these messages all the time. It's like, man, you just got 50 minutes of working out in. Like, that was a great fucking workout. Like, what are you talking about? That was awesome. Maybe you had to skip one thing, or maybe you had to come back and do another thing. That doesn't mess anything up. And I think a lot of people are just super stuck in their program, and like, it says this, so I need to do that. Like, it needs to be what I wrote down. And I don't fault the people at all for this. I fault coaches of like how we've indoctrinated people into a movement practice and kind of ruined them that way. But man, the program is just a sheet of paper. Your body is the intelligent machine telling you, hey, this is what I should do today. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I like doing. This is what I have interest in doing today. This is what I don't. And I think the more you become aware and pay attention to those things, the better your movement practice becomes. And you can start to realize, oh, I got a really good workout in today just because I switched that. Because there's another thing where it's like, well, I know I don't do very well with deadlifts, but I got deadlifts on my program. And again, that's never to eliminate, let's just picking on deadlifts here. You don't have to eliminate deadlifts from your program forever, but just because like, if you're not feeling good that day and you're like, deadlifts usually don't make me feel great, maybe that's not a day you deadlift. Just because it's on your sheet of like paper, like maybe we change that. We do, like, even if it's a simple switch to like a hex bar deadlift or something simple that you feel better doing. Like, again, I think we need to pay much more attention to how we feel during our workouts, what our thought process going into it is. And that doesn't mean don't push yourself. That doesn't mean don't do hard things just because you don't want to do hard things. It means having an intrinsic awareness to what you're feeling that day, what you have interest in. And that's why, like, when coaches are like, well, how do you program interest? Or like, I'll talk about doing jumps until disinterested. And they're like, well, that's silly. Like, your sets and reps, you need to, whatever it is. Like, that, I know exactly what your program looks like if you're saying that, if you have those thought processes. I know exactly how your athletes think if you do that, because they're going to you to look at how they view movement. And I just feel like it's a brutalized way. If you can't program in a way to where you say do jumps till disinterested, or do jumps for 10 minutes, or do sprints for 20 minutes, or bench press until fatigued, whatever it is, if you can't do that way and auto-regulate yourself that way, we are very disconnected from our bodies and our movement practice. And that should be a data point. That should be a great thing for you. If you're at that point right now, it's like, well, I'm pretty stuck in a lot of the ways that I program. I'm pretty stuck in, if I see this, I got to do that. That's awesome. That means you have a ton of freedom to go change your program or change the way that you approach movement. And I guarantee you get better results while having more fun. So just a little rant. You're not stuck into a certain sheet of paper. Whatever the sheet of paper is, man, fucking erase that sheet of paper, dude. Like, it's a guide. It is not set in stone. It is not your 10 commandments there. That doesn't mean don't do hard things. Doesn't mean don't push yourself. It just means pay attention. And on workout or days where you need to get a 40-minute workout in, that's so much better than doing nothing. All right, or getting a 40-minute workout in and then stressing the rest of the week that you didn't do anything, and then you skip 2 workouts because, oh, I lost it all anyways, man. Just keep chopping wood, keep showing up, keep paying attention to your body, and get done what you can get done, and go from there. Right. So that's the workout for today. We're going to go finish this podcast and kind of go from there. Boom.